I'm gonna do the pop now. So after we do the pop, maybe what is this? Highlight save to your channel. So on this video, up to 5 minutes of your stream. Cool. So I really don't have a plan, no script or anything. I like my One Piece posters. Hope you guys like it too. But I thought about using my mic, but I'm not gonna use my mic. Nah. Let's keep it raw. Let's keep it unedited, you know. And I was thinking, right, if you have a penguin, then you have a giraffe. And then you take the penguin and the giraffe, you know, you go down a trail. It's not a steep trail. It's not an upward slope, downward slope. It's kind of like it's a rugged trail, but it has some bumps in it, you know, little curves. It's not a straight trail. But this penguin and this giraffe, you know, they're not friends. The only reason why they're traveling together is because they have no choice. They have no choice but to travel together, right? So that's the interesting part, right? So if you're not even thinking about the penguin, you don't even think about the giraffe, but you replace the penguin and the giraffe with people. People cannot like each other, but people can still walk with each other. Walking can be working. Walking can be working out. Walking can be any interaction we have with each other, right? So if we can have any interaction with each other and it's all good, right? It's all, you know, according to plan, then why do the sharks end up bleeding? If the sharks end up bleeding, then this is all for nothing. This is all for nothing. If the sharks end up bleeding, then you got no penguin, you got no giraffe, you got no people. And if you got no people, what do you got? You got nothing. You got nothing, man. So it makes me think. Would you rather have white walls or blue walls? Why white or blue? Why not black? Why not purple? Why not brown? Why not any color you like? No, why gotta be white or blue? White, abstract. Blue, color of the sky. But is it the color of the sky? I think it's the color of the sky. You think it's the color of the sky. Sometimes it's not blue. Sometimes it can be orange, depending on the sun. But I don't know why paper can be thin. Why can't it be thick? I mean, our phones used to be thick, right? Nokia, the blueberry, the blackberry, you know, the pineapple phone, the watermelon phone, all the phones, all the, you know what I'm saying? So if we had thick phones, we have small phones, thin phones, thinner and thinner. CPUs, GPUs, batteries, all that stuff's getting thin. So at a certain point, will it still be efficient to have something so thin? If you have it thin and it's remarkably thin, right? Like it's almost paper thin. Where's the comfort in using it, right? I mean, it's almost like a delicate, like little thing. So it makes me think, like closets. When you open up closets, it's kind of cool because you know you use a handle, you open it up, you look up what's inside. Sometimes it's clothes, sometimes it's you know toothbrushes and toothpastes. Sometimes it can be other things, but not even thinking about closets, right? We think about light, right? We can think about fans and blades. It's kind of cool. Think about fans and blades. Only in the context of wind and propellers and stuff like that, right? If you think about fans and blades outside of that, then what do you got? You got nothing but cornstarch baby powder. And you can only use that if you really want to, like, you know, after take a shower and you want to feel, you know, good, maybe. But, you know, you should probably use you should probably use a specific soap to get out the alligators in your backyard, because the alligators. I mean, if you're a Floridian, right? It's an alligator problem here. You know, I mean, maybe like an alligator every like 2 months in your backyard. You know, roughly. So that'll help. That'll definitely help with the motions and the oceans of getting rid of alligators in your backyard. I think that if you do that, then what do you have? You have everything you need to win a marathon. Because if you can capture the alligators in your backyard, if you can stop the sharks from bleeding, and you can finally win that marathon, maybe you won't. You won't win the marathon. All that stuff, you won't win it. But you can think you can win it. And isn't that the first step? Thinking you can do it? Thinking you can do it. First step. So, as you think, before you even think, you're thinking of thinking, right? Before you even do the action, did you think about doing the action? Or did you think about thinking about doing the action? Because if it's the latter, we got some introspection to do. Because it gets deeper. How deep? I don't know. Deep enough to make the whole 9 yards go away. I love that. You love that. But I will say that when it comes down to the replayability of it all, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting. Because you go to Arizona or Georgia, Stanford, any place, and maybe, no, scratch that. Go to Canada. You go to Canada, you find air and trees and people, right? Or you go to Russia, you will find a lot of snow most of the time. You will also find, you know, matter and things. So, regardless of where you go, you will find things. But the things you find is what will sculpt your mind into propelling you into the future you never thought you wanted to be in. And then that is how you go from age 0 to age wherever you die. And you think, have I done enough? Have I done too much? Have I not done enough? Have I not done enough? But thinking about if you've done enough or not, you have to think about rugs, because you need one rug in your life to truly be comfortable. I mean, I think it was a guy named, was it Mark Twain? Nah, Mark Twain wouldn't say that. Nah, forget. But the whole point is, if you go back to the white walls, not the blue walls, the white walls, decided for you. Thank you. You go back to the white walls, then I think you will have a certain expectation of what to move forward with, right? You move forward with the white walls, you don't get the blue walls, you make sure the sharks don't bleed, and you go to state to look at different things it has. What do you have as a whole picture? You have nothing. You have nothing with all of that. What's the point of getting all that together? Whatever point you want. Whatever point you want, because at a certain point, you're not thinking about the white walls. You're not thinking about the progress of what to do after the white walls, but you're thinking about the bottles, probably. The bottles that you use to drink, you know, because you got to drink something. I think it's every 3 days? Maybe 4? I think it's 3 days. No, 5 days. 5 days without water, you can live. Regardless of the fact, the bottles you have to keep all your drinks, that's wonderful. Because you can use your bottles, you can use your drinks, and then you can store it. Or you cannot store it, because we're humans. We're animals. We're not going to store it. We're going to use it up. We're gonna drain it all, and then we're going to, move on to the next thing. Because we're kind of wasteful in a way. Not all of us, but I think our nature is wasteful. I mean, if you look at our psychology and our behavior, it's kind of sus. But can we truly change it? Here's a question. Can we filter out our seven deadly sins over time? No. Why no? Because it's already been hundreds of thousands of years and we haven't yet. But it's only been 100,000 years. What if we live millions and millions of more years? Well, De'Aaron, can you live millions and millions more years? Or Kathleen, or Johnny, or Brian, can you live more years by just doing things? Can you extend it? Probably not. Probably not. But I will say this, you probably can just go and, get all the features up and running. Because if you do that, then, forget the white walls and all that stuff. You can just go straight to the blue wall, right? You want to get to the blue wall. The blue wall is where you can get, your finances in check. The blue wall is where you can, watch SpongeBob. The blue wall can be where you don't have to go to your 9 to 5 job. You can go to your 9 to 6 job. The blue wall can be, having that, favorite song on repeat, right? The blue wall is endless, right? The blue wall, it can be anything you want. But to get to the blue wall, you gotta do a few things. You know what I'm saying? You gotta put in that work. You gotta get that cheddar, right? You gotta start stacking that bread, right? I like whole grain. Whole grain's cool. Um, you know, I like wheat as well. I really don't buy too much white bread, but you know, it kind of seeps into my life every now and then. But it is what it is. You can't really control it. You can't control it. What am I talking about? You can't control it, but you can't control it. So you can't control it. But talking about you know the different things that you can do is interesting, but it's not the end all be all, right? We are here on this planet, in this room, in your room. We are here to not only try to find out what's going on, but we're here to try to find out why the pillars of light is the pillars of light. If the pillars of light is not the pillars of light, then why are we even trying to figure out if it's light or not? Because if it's a pillar and it has light shining, then we're on the right track. Now that all goes back to the point of the white walls. The white walls is your blank canvas. And like I said, you want to get to the blue wall. The blue wall is where everything is possible. I love it. And it's honestly fantastic. I advise it. I advise you all go to the blue wall. I advise the blue wall come to you. And to be fair, seeing how long you can understand something is honestly pretty cool. It's pretty cool seeing that. And I think that doing this more often will make me clear my thoughts. Clear my thoughts, right? Because who cares? Who really cares? At the end of the day, the only thing that truly matters is whether or not you feel accomplished with your life. Not whether or not someone else think you're accomplished. But if you, when you look at yourself in the mirror, is happy. I think if we all get to that point, life's worth living. Life's worth living. Now I want to end this. How do I end this? No.